Hey guys, hope you guys are doing well. I just wanted to drop in and make another video. It's been a little bit busy with the school year just starting and the football season just starting as well. Just don't have as much free time to make videos as I used to, but I definitely wanted to take some time and make a video and just talk about Chopped. So I wanted to spend some time just kind of talking about my own experience with Chopped and also just kind of why I decided to go on Chopped, other than the fact that you could be on TV and I get to compete on a show that I grew up watching. But there are other reasons why I chose to do so, and I want to talk about that. So before I talk about kind of my reason for going on Chopped, I wanted to field a couple questions that I kind of been getting from a lot of people. Like they wanted to know what's real, what's not, and how is this judge and that judge and all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to field a couple questions. Like a lot of things on TV, probably all that stuff isn't as accurate, especially since with an hour show. We shot that episode. I think I left the hotel at 4:30 in the morning, or maybe 5 in the morning, and I think we got back to the hotel around 9 or 9:30 at night. So it was a couple of hours just to get an hour of TV. So it's quite a long time. But again, it was just a really, really cool experience just to be able to see the production of it all and seeing how it's made. Two questions I get asked the most is, do you actually have no idea what's in the inside the basket ingredients, and also like, is the time accurate? That is probably like the only thing that's truly accurate about the show, is that you really don't know what's in the basket and you really only do have 20 to 30 minutes. Even if we like cut ourselves, luckily no one in our group did, but they did have that small hand washing station where they said, yeah, basically if you get cut, just go over there, but the clock's still gonna be running. And it is pretty intense to try to come up with a dish within that short amount of time. A lot of people ask me also, like, how are the judges? Are they actually really nice? Are they mean? Whatever. And I obviously on TV there has to be a little bit of drama, so they might seem a little bit mean on TV, but honestly, all the criticism is very fair. It's probably not the best food that any of us who are competing ever made, because we're cooking with ingredients that we've never cooked with before. We're also trying to come up with dishes, and of course, there's going to be critiques because well, someone has to get chopped, but also it's like, how do you make a dish with all these random ingredients? And so, yeah, were the judges mean? No, I don't think so. And I think their criticism was pretty fair for the most part. So now I just kind of want to spend some time and just talking about every single round and just really talking about like what I think went right, what went wrong for me. And I'm pretty sure everyone's going to be wondering the same thing. So in the appetizer round, I think I did well. Luckily, like my ribs, I thought I had seasoned the bologna salad thing that I made, but I guess it wasn't enough. I thought there was enough herbs, and I did squeeze some lime juice in there, but that bologna sandwich was just like, or bologna, sorry, salad was just something that I never want to cook with ever again, and I don't really necessarily want to eat. So that's fine. That was a fair criticism on their part. On the second dish, okay, I need to make this clear. So the way it's edited, it just made it seem like I dumped that chilies, the red pepper flakes in there, and I did, but I also scooped out almost all of it. During that round, it was one of those things where I had put some spice in the cabbage earlier on, and that thing dumped too. And it's because I don't know if you guys have the same type of bottles. I have the same type of bottle at home, but when I use it at home, that thing, it takes me forever. Like I'll shake it like 10 times and nothing will come out. So when I use it there, I was, basically dumping it kind of like I would at home, because it never comes out, and it just dumped. And so when I was making that cabbage, again, I was trying to scoop out as much as I possibly could. And then towards the end of the dish, when I was making that chimichurri, uh, I basically I played the dish and I had the cabbage and the pork on top, and it just looked kind of like boring and kind of plain. So I was like, you know what? I'll whip up a quick chimichurri to put on top, and those was in the last like maybe 2 minutes or a minute and a half in the round. And so I just grabbed everything that I usually cook with. I grabbed parsley, red wine vinegar, olive oil, oregano, salt, pepper, and whatever. But I also am used to putting red pepper flakes into my chimichurri as well. But because I was in such a rush, I forgot that I had put some initially in the cabbage, and I also forgot that it dumps like that. So when I dumped it in, I'm surprised they didn't show me on camera doing it, but I stood there for like 10 seconds just staring at it, being like, oh my God, I'm going to get chopped just because of this. And I was like so just demoralized from it because I was like, I told myself, the thing dumps like crazy. Don't do that again. And then I end up doing it twice in one round. But luckily, I cooked the pork the best. And then again, I knew that cutting on a bias like that was going to make the world of difference in it. So glad it worked out. In the dessert round, that was one that I didn't think that was going to be something that I could do. I don't make desserts very often. I cook savory. That's just kind of what I do. But the fact that they liked, my dish as much as they did, and the fact that everyone keeps telling me and they keep coming up to me and asking me when can I make them some sexy peaches, because that's the thing that everyone keeps coming up to me saying. But it just was. I don't know. When that round, really, I didn't know what I was doing, and especially that whipped cream. I've never made whipped cream before, and so I was like, you just whip it, right? And then it just it becomes whipped cream. But at the same time, like, I was throwing on hot peaches and also like a grilled muffin, so I figured if I put whipped cream on like a hot dish, it's all gonna melt anyway. So I just kind of left it runny, and I left it a little bit thicker, and I put in the blast chiller. And it did kind of foam a little bit, so I was kind of happy with it. But the judges didn't like that, and also throwing the mint on top of that, yeah, it was probably a mistake. I'm just happy that I came up with 3 dishes that were okay, and when I saw them on TV, I was like, oh, they look pretty good. So one other thing that I want to address is, right before the end of the second round, when we were getting judged to see who got chopped, and then Dominique, soundbite was what she said right before she got chopped, and everyone was blowing my phone saying like, I can't believe she said that, blah 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 blah. Like, everyone needs to relax. It's a competition show. There are producers. There are certain things that are scripted, and she even came up to me at some point and was like, I don't know why they keep asking me why, or why they keep saying things like, you're only just a high school teacher. Like, they keep making me say it. So, at the end of the night, after we all finished, we met in the, hotel lobby. We all got a drink and basically apologized to each other because we're like, hey, anything that's said on that show, just know that, like, it's nothing personal. And because we all said things that we didn't want to say, and unfortunately some of them got picked up and put into the show. Overall, I was very, very happy with my experience. Like, personally, I did not expect to win. I just didn't want to get chopped first. Cooking in that sort of setting is not it's not how I cook. It's not what I do. I'm used to cooking on a stove and a grill, but they're like, oh, you have a pot of boiling water, you have the oven, you have all these kind of like, you have a mixer and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, if I make this dish and I'll use this, and that. And I ended up just not using anything other than the grill and the stove, because when you're cooking under that kind of pressure, you just go with what you know and what you feel comfortable with. And, I'm used to cooking with wood and a shovel. So I was definitely out of my element. But other than that, other things that I wish kind of got into the show, obviously every single person needs to have kind of, their story that the producers and the show want to plug. And I get it, being like just a high school teacher is one of the things that they wanted me to be on the show. But, I really went in that show with an agenda of wanting to use it as a platform to talk about other things. And, I said a lot, but unfortunately, a lot of it didn't make it onto the show. Personally, like many of you, I had a really, really rough 2020, and that's when I kind of went MIA from barbecue, and I wanted to kind of fade away and just kind of give myself a break, and not really talk about barbecue too much, because it's something that I wasn't really sure exactly what I wanted to do with it and how I wanted to, use that platform. So it was very funny that I guess the most public thing that most people, even people who don't know me, um, is the thing that I decided to do. Why I decided to do that was because, well, one of two things. One, as much as they made me out to be this like, oh, he's out here for his kids and that, he's just a teacher and wanting to do his thing. At that time, during that year, it was, we were teaching from home through Zoom. I didn't even know what my kids looked like. That soundbite of them of me saying, I'm doing this for my kids to show them like they can, if they work hard, they can achieve whatever. It's true. Like that's without a doubt. And my former students, I did that for them as well. But currently, I only knew maybe 10 faces of the students I was working with because everyone turned their cameras off. So for me personally, I want to do it for myself, but I really wanted to do it for my family. It's weird because even when I was doing my closing interview, we even talked about that. We talked about like like the dynamic of, you know, a Korean household and me doing something that's so different and me deciding to quit teaching and go to Texas to learn how to cook barbecue is a strange thing. And yeah, and I also said, yeah, it is strange. But the only reason why I could do it is because I had so much support from my family. And as much as it was difficult for me, I also know that it had to be difficult for my parents to some extent. Like obviously it's my life and my choice, but um, you know, I was on a path to do to do what I've always wanted to do, which is to teach and to coach and I was doing that. And I'm sure for them it was scary as well, but they supported me all the way through. And it was just so nice to be able to give those people, my friends and my family, something to be like, say thank you for supporting me. Like this moment of being on TV and being able to cook and doing that, like it doesn't exist without, my support. I was talking about my Knox fam, and those are the OGs of the Knox fam. Those people who, stayed up late with me, would come to every single pop up, would visit me when I was away, who would check up on me to see that I was okay during my time in Texas. And without that, like I'm not here. I don't get to do that. And that was my thing of saying thank you and being like, we did it. And so with that in mind, seeing what I was portrayed on TV wasn't a bad thing. I just felt like it was a little bit shallow. And also the fact that like they didn't talk about me going to Texas at all. I thought that was a little strange because that's a huge chunk of my story and where I really learned to do barbecue and learn to play with fire and do all that kind of stuff. Again, that was another opportunity that I used to. I talked about places I worked at, and I talk them all the time. I talk about Terry Blacks, Truth, Leroy and Lewis, and just kind of like the barbecue family, just in general, is had been so welcoming to me, and especially when it aired and I got so much support and love from so many different people, it was kind of like, wow, like it's real, it's not just because I I was only in Texas and that was the only time that support exists. And, it extends all the way to here until now. And I also wish that like they talked about Knox Have Barbecue, which they didn't. And they also didn't talk about me making YouTube videos like I'm doing right now. And so there are a lot of things that, of course, I wish there was more of because like I said, I think I wanted to be more than just a teacher, even though that was a tagline that they used. But in a very real sense, during that time, the episode was shot in April, and there was just so much, hashtag like Stop Asian Hate and all that kind of stuff, and didn't really get to talk about that aspect of it too much, very specifically. But I also did talk about representation and wanting to be like, and basically saying there's not a lot of people who look like me who are doing this. And the fact that I have this platform, not to say that this is the only thing that I want to do, but at least it gives me an opportunity to talk about like me as an individual cooking this type of food. It's not seen a lot of, and I think I said at one point that I wanted to not have my food be the thing that everyone's trying to copy or anything like that, but I wanted to be an example of someone who took the basics of barbecue, tried to do something different, and I wanted to be someone who kind of helped start that movement like some other people already have. At another point during the episode as well, I think it was during the second round because there's too much spice in the food. This was one of the conversations I had with one of the judges. For a long time, when I started in Texas, when I was trying to do pop-ups, when I was doing a lot of things that, it became work for me. I felt like I was cooking angry because I wanted to prove that I was more than people thought I was. And basically, I said that the reason why I'm here on Chopped now is because I don't have to cook like that anymore. That I found that I had to cook angry initially because it allowed me to kind of get through the steps of learning how to barbecue. But now that I know how to, I can cook more freely and that I can cook like I should without this burden, without this kind of chip on my shoulder, which I still do at times, and I think it's always good for me to kind of have that chip because it kind of keeps me on my toes. But that's why one of the judges said, like, when they were eating the second dish, like, I think I can taste the anger in the food, and I wish that was shared as well. I think there's a lot of missed opportunity to show more of who I was, but I also can't blame them because I was very, very focused during that show. If you guys don't know me, I am very, very competitive. I might not say very much. I'm not going to talk very much. But everything that I try to do is going to try to win for sure, or be the best at something. Even though I'm super competitive, other than maybe like football and maybe just sports in general, but I don't really get competitive over cooking. But it is a competition on Chop, so that's a little different. The way that I speak on that show, I don't want to say I'm monotone, but I was just so focused that I was just answering their questions, whatever they had for me. I was kind of like, let's get this interview over with and let's get to the next round, or like it's time to go home and that kind of stuff. But anytime that they wanted me to say something negative about certain contestants, I didn't feel comfortable doing that. It's not what I do. I don't operate in that kind of fashion. And so anytime they were trying to fish out negative kind of comment for me to say about someone else, I purposefully made my voice even more dull in hopes that it was such bad audio that they decided not to use it. And I think it kind of worked because I don't think there was really anything that I said on that show that was really that way. At least I don't think I've said anything that will seem negative. But overall, it was just a super, super humbling experience, and I'm really grateful that I even have a chance to do something like that. Like, I don't know how many people can say that they could do so. It was super, like I said, humbling just to hear so many responses from other people, to hear from a lot of you who maybe I didn't get to responding to your messages because it was the first time that I ever seen, my phone and my Instagram blow up like that, and just to kind of see that was like my heart was full this entire week, and it's crazy because I wanted to. It was like kind of the first time that I really got to see where are all my circles of, whether it's like my family, my friends, my coaches, teachers, barbecue people, like they all got to watch it. They all got to experience it. And I hope that they all feel like they had a part in that as well. Because genuinely, when I talk about, like I said, Knoxat Fam, it is all those different circles coming together, and to be a group that shouldn't be together or would have no connection. And the fact that I might be able to be a connection between all these different communities it means a lot. And it's something that I hope that I can do more things to kind of bring those different communities together, because I feel like when people come together, like amazing things happen, whether it's sharing stories, whether it's being able to help each other in different ways, and just being able to be a real community is something that I'm all about. I'm huge on family, like I talked about too, and it's been so great. I wanted to give it some time before I responded with a video because it would have been very easy for me to respond the very next day of me watching the episode. But with emotions high and all that kind of stuff, I didn't want to do it when I was in that state. I wanted to be able to think about it a little bit more, to reflect on it, and to really articulate things that I want to say and how I want to say it. And obviously, there's a lot more that I could say and I want to say, but I won't because this video is already getting long. Thank you guys so much for your support. I know I say it a lot, and I know it sounds cliche and sounds old, and it just sounds like I'm just saying just to say it, but I genuinely do mean it. I am not, I don't think that I'm supposed to be someone who gets these opportunities because I was never a kid who, when I was in high school and college, was ever this type of person who can go out and be willing to do things like this. And it's only happened within the last, I want to say, 5 years of my life, and it's been a very, very quick 5 years. But the amount of people that I've met, the amount of people that I can really call good friends of mine has just been, explosive. All right, just to close this video, again, I just want to say thank you guys so much. Make sure you like, subscribe, share this video with your friends. If you have any other questions for me, feel free to leave them in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.